Hey guys, it's Richard from Galactic Digital, and if you're looking to figure out how many people are searching for your product or service, then I'm going to show you how you can use Google Ads keyword research tool to get exact numbers on how many people are searching for your product or service on Google. Now, you don't have to use expensive tools like Ahrefs or SEMrush to get this data. I'm going to show you how you can get it for free. And also at the end of the video, I'm going to show you how you can actually predict how many leads or sales you're going to get using this data. So let's dive in. Cool, so the first step you're going to want to do is to log into your Google Ads account. If you don't have one, you just need a Gmail or G Suite Google account and then log in with that. And if you don't have an account already, just go through the steps to make one, and then you should have access to a screen that looks kind of like this. And you're going to want to go to the left here and go Tools, Planning if it's not selected already, and then go Keyword Planner, and you should see a screen that looks like this. Now, here's how we can get started. So we want to click on Discover New Keywords. And in this example, I'm going to pretend I'm a roofing company. So I'm going to go through keywords like that, but you can put any keyword that's relevant to your business here. I'm going to say roof replacement is something people are looking for, and maybe Brisbane roofing, which is like a location. I would recommend try to keep it to 1 or 2 keywords unless you have a lot of products or services that you want to search for. But just in this researching stage, it can kind of be good to just narrow it down to a couple. And if you keep it pretty broad like this, you'll find that you'll get a lot of good suggestions. If you're looking for a very specific search term and you want to get data on that, then you can type that search term in. But I'd recommend to just keep it to like 2 to 3 keywords, and that should be more than enough. I'll click Get Results, and awesome, this is showing all of the average monthly searches for these keywords. Here are the 2 that I typed in so we can see them directly, and it's also giving me a bunch of suggestions of different keywords I could use. Now, if you're a local business, what I suggest doing is changing your location to roughly the location you want to use. So I'm going to do that right now. And that'll give you a much better idea of the actual average monthly searches you'll get, because the previous screen was showing all of a country. We just want to see the local area. If you're doing e-commerce or something with like a large area, then of course this doesn't matter. So the next thing I want to draw your attention to is this graph here, and basically we can click through and sort of see what it's doing. It's just showing the search volume over time. We can see from January 2024 to December 2024. So we can kind of see how seasonal this keyword is, and we can see we're getting a lot more searches in May and a lot more searches in November. I know in Australia, November is like a rainy sort of time period, so that could be why we're getting a lot more searches then. You don't need to think too strongly about it, but if you do see like a severe dip in one of these areas for a lot of keywords, then you might be able to say that it's a bit of a seasonal kind of keyword. The next thing I want to show you is competition and your bids here. So this gives you a rough idea of how much you need to pay per click. Top of page, low range is kind of keywords that are going to show at the bottom of search results, like here for example. And then top of page, high range is kind of what you might be paying for keywords towards the top of the page. Now let's get into how we can refine these keywords. So it's saying we've got 655 keyword ideas available, which is quite a lot, and we might end up using a lot of these, but we can quickly add some filters here to kind of cut down on the amount of keywords we want to add. So generally when you're running a campaign, you probably don't want to use other competitor keywords, so I'll remove those. And then in some examples, we don't want to be showing for other brands. We might just want general terms like roof replacement, Brisbane roofing, that kind of stuff. So I'll get rid of brand names, because in this instance we're doing a service, we don't want to sell like a product. And now we're only showing 593 out of 655. We can also look at services here, so it's really cool that it breaks this down. We just want to look for services that we might not want to do, and in this example we might not want to do roof repairs, we only want to do roof replacements. We also might not want to do roof restoration, So I can get rid of those two to kind of narrow down the keywords even more. Next thing is materials. This is actually also a good example because some roofers might not do roofing on a certain roof material. So we can remove the ones that we might not do. And then all these keywords like Brisbane and price, they're cool. So we can leave them in. So that's straight away narrowed it down from 655 to 399. And I can tell you that a couple of years ago, this was a long process. So it's great that it's so quick now. Once I've narrowed down my keywords, the other thing I can do, by the way, is just like select the keywords that I want. But I'm gonna use this filtered process that I've done and select all 399. That just by default, be careful. When you select them, it selects 100, so you just want to make sure you select all 399. And then once that's done, we want to make a keyword plan. So I'm going to go add keywords to create plan. And now we've got our plan. I'm going to move on to forecast. Now, this is actually going to show us an idea of how many leads we might be able to get for our business, or how many sales if you're doing like product related searches. We made a plan so we can select all the saved keywords we did, and here it's giving us an example. So I want to change my location back to what it was previously. And I just want to change match type to phrase just so it's pretty close to the keywords I selected. And here we go, we've got a pretty good idea of how many leads we're going to get per month. With a daily budget of $17. Now I can actually click this button here and see a forecast of, if I have a budget of say $40, how many leads I'm expected to get. Now you can see once my budget gets over like about $100, then it starts getting a lot more expensive for less leads. So you can kind of quickly see what the sort of sweet spot for your budget would be. Just looking at this graph, I'd say around 100 leads, around $68 per day might be a good kind of sweet spot for this campaign. Let's go through these stats and I'll sort of explain them. So we've got our conversions, which is basically leads or sales that it's estimating. Now, the way it's figuring that out is through this estimated conversion rate, and we can actually click on this pencil icon and edit that. I know 19% is quite a lot, so I'm going to just say it's around 10%, which is fairly typical. And then we can actually put a value per conversion. Now this is really great if you're doing e-commerce, but if you're doing lead generation, this can also be applicable. I might just say that one lead is worth $100 to us. If we get 10 leads, I'll say, we'll get a sale. So let's just do that to give us a rough idea. It's not super important for lead generation. Cool, so now with this 10% conversion rate, our cost per lead is $37, and it's saying we're going to get about $5,000 worth of sales. I'm not going to worry too much about that right now. But for example, if we were selling some kind of product and it was $100, then this kind of gives us a good idea of the return on ad spend. It's showing how many estimated clicks we're going to get and our cost. So that's just our budget times 30 days, and it's showing the average cost per click we can expect, $3.71. Now these forecasts aren't super accurate because I know in this industry the cost per click is at least $6. If you want a more, realistic view, you can go exact, and that should bump the cost per click up quite a bit, which it did. So yeah, $7, that's kind of accurate for this industry, and yeah, $80 per lead, that's also pretty accurate. So that can give you a bit of a better idea. So if you just flick between phrase and exact, that can, somewhere in the middle of those two is probably where you're going to end up. And that's pretty much it. Hopefully this video showed you how you can get some search data from Google Ads Keyword Planner, and I hope that the forecasting tool was helpful for you. If you have any questions, leave them down below. And in the next video, I'm going to show you my techniques for taking these keywords and structuring them in such a way that you get a really high performing Google Ads campaign.